They say a person's greatness is not measured by the size of their house or the numbers in their bank account, but by the depth of their thoughts. That truth has echoed through centuries, shaping the lives of those who dared to think differently. Napoleon Hill once said, "What you think about, you become." Yet many people still fail to change their lives, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they never truly believe in their own potential. In a quiet corner of a busy city near a train station, there lived a beggar. Every morning, he sat in the same spot with an old tin cup beside him, hoping that a few kind strangers would drop in some coins. He didn't expect much from life anymore, just enough to survive another day. One afternoon, as the crowd rushed by, a man stopped in front of him. He was tall, confident, and dressed in an elegant suit, the kind of person who seemed to have everything in life. The beggar stretched out his hand and said softly, "Please, sir, spare me some change." The man looked down at him and asked, "Tell me, have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar was puzzled. "Me? Give something? I have nothing to give." The man smiled slightly and said, "If you have nothing to give, you also have no right to receive." Then he turned and walked away. The beggar sat there, stunned. Those words echoed in his mind again and again. If you have nothing to give, you have no right to receive. That night, he couldn't sleep. The businessman's words haunted him. He realized he had spent his entire life only asking, never giving. He thought deeply about what he could offer others. But what could a beggar possibly give? The next morning, he noticed a few wildflowers growing by the station. They were small and simple, yet somehow beautiful. He picked some and thought, maybe I can give these flowers to those who give me money. From that day on, his routine changed. Each time someone dropped a coin into his cup, he smiled, handed them a flower, and said, "Thank you, sir. Please accept this flower." At first, people were surprised. Then something magical began to happen. More people started to stop by. They smiled, they talked to him, and many gave him more than just a few coins. He began to realize a simple truth. When you give with sincerity, life gives back even more. Weeks turned into months, and the beggar's little flower stand became known in the neighborhood. People didn't just give him money anymore. They came to see his smile, his gratitude, his kindness. He wasn't just a beggar anymore. He was a giver. One morning, the same businessman appeared again. He recognized the beggar immediately, but this time, the man looked different. His clothes were still simple, yet his eyes were full of light. The beggar said with a cheerful smile, "Sir, now I have something to give you, a flower in exchange for your money." The businessman laughed, impressed. "Now you understand the value of giving," he said. "You're no longer a beggar, you're a businessman." From that day forward, the beggar decided to stop begging. He used the money he had saved to buy fresh flowers and started selling them. People supported him because they loved his story, and within a few months, his small flower stall grew into a real business. 6 months later, the businessman returned to the same station. To his surprise, he saw a bright flower shop where the beggar used to sit. And behind the counter stood that same man, neatly dressed, greeting customers with warmth. The businessman approached him and said, "I knew you had it in you." The man smiled and replied, "I just changed the way I saw myself. I was never truly a beggar. I was a businessman all along. I just needed to believe it." That day, both men shared a smile of understanding. It wasn't just a story of success. It was a story of transformation, a shift in mindset that turned despair into purpose and purpose into prosperity. Because in truth, life doesn't change when your situation changes. Life changes when your mind changes. If you see yourself as small, life will make you small. If you believe you are capable, life will open its doors. The power of change lies not in your hands, but in your thoughts. You receive only when you give, and when your thoughts change, your destiny begins to change too.